This light painting shoot at Caves Beach was one that I have been trying to get done for a long time. It's a great location and I was sure that it was going to suit this sort of lighting technique. Not everything went according to plan. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, and I'll show you some of those problems that we had later on in the video. Also during the video I'll give you a few tips about the sort of things to look for, the sort of things to expect, and how to do this light painting technique in this sort of location. If you've seen some of my light painting videos in the past, you'll know that we need darkness for this technique to work. We need a blank, dark canvas for our light painting to work in this situation. So it takes place at night. Because in the darkness, I can use my torch. Everything's done with a tiny little torch like this, an LED torch. I can use my torch to paint the light onto my scene, onto my subject, onto my background. It's a great technique because I can control everything with this torch. I can light my subject from a particular angle that's going to be flattering for them. I can also get in and light my background from various different angles and different directions to show it at its best as well. Now this takes a bit of time, so long exposures are the measure of the day. Anything from about 2 seconds, which we started with in this video, right through to 30 seconds or even more. We could do multiple minutes using this technique, or even hours if it was dark enough, because we don't want that ambient light to take over from our image or where we're light painting. You'll need a tripod or some sort of camera support that's going to enable you to do those long exposures with your camera nice and steady. I've used a remote shutter release with these shots, and as I have in the past, I've used the same sort of thing just because it gives me the option to be away from my camera when I fire the shutter. You don't need that. You can just press the shutter and walk to your scene, or you can ask a friend to do it for you. There's no problem with that. I also use back button focus when I'm doing most of my photography. I use back button focus for probably 80% of what I do. It's great in that it allows me to focus on my subject and then it just stays focused in that one spot. It's great for working at night because autofocus is always a little bit sus at night. It doesn't always do a great job, particularly in complete darkness, like the situations that we're working in this video. So either back button focus or manual focus is the way to go. I get one of my assistants to hold the torch on my subject, I focus on her, and then that focus doesn't shift until I need to press that back button again for the next series of shots. Now I use a couple of helpers to help me out with these sort of shoots. You don't need it, you can do all this stuff yourself. It's just that my mobility issues mean that it's difficult for me to get around the scene, particularly in the dark, particularly on the beach, because the footing's not particularly great on the wet rocks and on the sand. So I have a couple of helpers who are keen to come and help me with this. It makes it a little bit easier for me, but you can do all of this stuff yourself. So let's get into the video, have a look, and you'll see the results that we get. G'day, we're down here at Caves Beach today, one of my most favourite locations around Newcastle, Lake Macquarie. We're going to do some light painting. We've got a lot of noisy surf in the background here, so hopefully you can hear what I'm saying. We're going to use some torches to do some light painting. We're going to do a little bit different to the shoot we did a few weeks ago at Bailey's Estate. We're going to use a couple of different techniques. We've got Shana, our model. She's got a few different outfits. I hope she's bought some outfits. We're going to go in amongst the rocks and shoot with some angled light, because if we use that light painting torch technique along the edge of the cliff or along the edge of the rocks, it's going to bring up the contours and the shapes and the texture of those rocks really well. But ultimately we want to make Shana look good, and then we can paint our backgrounds and our foregrounds. So we'll get stuck into it and you'll see what we do. We're still not quite dark enough to give us a long enough shutter speed to start doing our light painting. We need probably at least 2 seconds to do any of this stuff, so we're going to wait a little while longer until that sky darkens down a bit. Because the sky is the only thing we really can't control here. The skies are set brightness, so we need to judge our exposure by the brightness of that sky. I don't want to do an overexposed sky and not be able to get that detail back into it. So we'll wait a little while and get started. All right, we might start over here, Shana. We need to lean you against something So is it okay for you to walk in the water? Just be careful where you walk so you don't get
So I can walk
cut
over
your
that
feet.
rock there.
Yeah, okay, that'll be fine. Take your time. Shine the torch on Shana for me so I can focus. Okay, thanks. So the first shot we're going to do, where we've got Shana up against this rock. My sky exposure is about 2 seconds. I'm sinking into the sand here. My sky exposure is 2 seconds. I'm going to use that 2 seconds to shine the light on Shana. So I'm going to get my assistant, probably get Michelle to do it first because she'll do a better job than Greg, to press the shutter, and then I'll do the light painting from the side. 1, 2, 3. Good. Can you stand with your feet together for me? With your back against the wall. Yep, that's it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's good. Can you stay there? This. So what we're going to do now, we're going to light Shana where she is leaning against the rock. I've got the exposure set for that background sky. I'm going to use Greg and Michelle to light the water for me during my 4-second exposure, which is going to give me a sharp image of Shana because she's not moving, and moving, swirling water in the shot. So that's what we're going to do now. So Greg, I'm going to light from there. If you can go from over there on that rock, just be careful. We want to wait until a bit of foam comes in and then we'll do it. No, you're painting around there. Okay, and a bit up on those rocks too. You just got to wait for a little bit of a wave to come in. And we've got 4 seconds. All right, we'll give it a go now. Ready? Okay, here we go. Here's one. Okay, ready, go. Right, I'll just check that out and see. Okay, that's great. Yep, try and keep that hand maybe on your hip so it doesn't move. Yep. All right, here we go. All right, that might do us here. We might get some in another spot later, but we can't spend all night just doing this. Take your time. What I'd like you to do is to go over there and light that wall. Down there, yep. All right, here we go. Nice and still, Shana. Go. Okay, that's great. This time I want you to look over this way, Shana. I'm going to be over there. Okay, here we go. That's great. Maybe turn your shoulders this way a little bit, Shana. Yeah, that's it. Okay, good. Here we go again, Greg. Go. Yeah, that's great. I get the feeling I'm going to take a tumble tonight. Yeah. All right, can you get down on the sand and just lean your bottom back against that? Can you do a similar thing, Greg? And maybe light out there as well if you can. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, once again, 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. And last one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. All right, you're lighting over that way, the same thing, Greg. Yep. Michelle, if you can go out there, yep, and just maybe light back the top of the rock without getting Shana. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Okay. Once again, we've got 4 seconds, okay, to do the lighting. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and last one. 1, 2, 3. I get caught off like that too. Okay, that's good. We'll go somewhere else. We're going to head up inside the tunnel up here and do a couple in there. So just be careful we don't leave anything behind. Okay, so there's a tunnel down there. So we're going to get Greg through to the end, because I want you to backlight through here, Greg.
That way no one can see that behind.
So you're in here.
Backlight.
You do right here?
You using my torch or yours?
Your torch.
Okay, that's good. Because I want them all the same brightness. Yeah, that's
right.
it. I want you to light with a narrow beam.
Narrow beam.
Yep. Just light along those rocks there. Yep. And the back of Shana's body here. Just one pass on Shana though, just a slow pass, yep, like that, because if she moves, we're going to get double image. Okay, I'm just focusing on her. Yep. Okay, Greg, now I want your torch to be not visible, so I need you that way a little bit. And hold your torch up high, yeah. 1, 2, 3. You okay to sit down on the sand? Yeah, okay. Around here, Shana. Just about there. You're facing that way because that's where the camera is. You turn around a little bit more, around away from me that way. That's it, that's good. Yeah, that's great, Shana. Okay, I'm just focusing. Okay, so we're doing a shot here in front of the big mouth of the cave. My exposure is going to be determined by the sky detail and the ocean outside. I need to get enough exposure to expose that correctly, and that's going to be my shutter speed, and that's going to give me enough time to light Shana and some of the interior of this cave. Okay, we've got a 30-second exposure. All right, Shana, so you just need to stay still while the torch is on you. Okay, so that'll be the initial bit, and then you can just relax. Okay, here we go. We're on 30 seconds. Ready, Shana? 3. Now, this shoot is a little bit more difficult than the one we did at Bailey's Estate because I'm used to shooting at Bailey's. It's the first time I've done light painting down here at Caves, and it's really dark. So with my bad knees, I'm finding it a little bit difficult to get around because the ground's not even. But I've got to be careful too not to run into things because we can't see anything. We've got rocks all around the place. But we're getting some great shots. So we're going to head out onto the rock platform and do a few more out there. All right, here we go. Okay, yeah, that's great. All right, nailed that one. I'm making it really hard for Robbie, once again, shooting in this total darkness. It's very difficult to shoot video in this sort of situation, particularly with the light painting. Normally, if I'm shooting flash, I can keep Robbie's light on and fire away, and the constant light doesn't affect the exposure. But when we're using light painting, his constant light does affect it. So he's got to turn that off, and we're working around in complete darkness. So he's doing a great job to get the footage that he's getting. What I want you to do, Greg, is to get in the cave up about there so that you can light all of these rocks. Yep. Oh, narrow beam, please. That's it. I want you to light the rocks and then right out to here and then light the roof of the cave as well, okay? All right, that's great, Shana. You ready, Greg? Okay, go! Yeah, terrific. How you going, okay? Yeah? All right, these look fantastic. You want to come and have a look?
Wow.
Looks good, eh?
I love how it like lights up out of the cave. It's like it's coming out, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, this is going fantastic. You can see those shots, they look great. It usually takes a little while to get into the groove when you're doing these shoots, particularly these difficult ones in the dark. But things are powering on now. It's nearly time to go home, but that's okay. I know we've got some fantastic images. We're going to do another set of images and then we'll probably call it a night. But I'm really happy with what we've got. Shana, with the pose, don't want to be able to see the front here, so maybe pull it across. Yeah, like that, that's it. Yeah, that's great. Turn your shoulders back a little bit. Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much, Shana. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that there was a few issues that I wanted to talk about that caused us a few problems during this shoot. The first one was the complete darkness. I wasn't aware of how dark that location was going to be. We didn't have a moon on this night. The moon hadn't risen, so it was completely dark. Sometimes I was walking around not knowing if I was going to bump into things. I couldn't see where my feet were. I had the torch there to help me out, but mid-exposure, I don't want to be walking around with the torch on my feet because that's going to expose my image. That was one problem that we had. Another problem we had was the sea mist. There was a bit of a mist come in, so there's a lot of particles in the air, which showed a bit of a beam from our torch. Usually the light from the torch to the subject is invisible until it hits something, but because we've got moisture in the mist, that light beam shows up with all those little particles. It didn't really make a huge difference, but in some shots you can see that beam of light. Maybe we could have taken advantage of that a little bit more. Maybe in future shoots I might think of that. There was a little bit of subject movement as well. It's quite difficult for someone to hold still for the 4 or 5 seconds that it takes to light them with the torch. Sometimes Shana wasn't completely comfortable up against the rocks that she was leaning against, so there's a little bit of subject movement, not very much. It doesn't really take away from the substance of the image, but there is a little bit there in some images. There was also a bit of an issue with the red LED on my shutter release. It has a little red LED on it to tell you that it's on or off, and I was holding that in my hand, so in some occasions that little red LED made a little swirling line in the image. It was quite easy to get rid of in post-production, but it's something that I can think of next time, maybe put that release in my pocket so it won't be a problem. The other thing is that it's a personal problem for me, but I tend to hang on to images. If I get some images that look really good, I'll continue shooting. And I shouldn't do that. Once I've got a great image in the can, I should move on to the next one. So we didn't get as much variety as I would have liked. I always sit down and plan these shoots before I do them, and I had a lot more ideas than the ones that we shot on the night. So expect another video in the future using some of those ideas that I haven't tried, some things that are a little bit more complicated, a little bit more exciting than these ones. But I hope you liked the video. We enjoyed doing it. I enjoy editing it, so keep an eye out for more in the future.